All right, I think we're good.
Okay, so, welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to the meeting. Let's see, Al brought up, the fact that I needed
I
to
can-
officially. Go ahead, Al.
So, we've been out of sync a wee bit during COVID, but I would like to make a motion that and nominate Maureen for her second consecutive term as chair of Parks and Recreation.
I'll second that motion. Travis will second that motion.
And why don't we say, for the sake of the minutes, why don't we, even though we're not quite sure the date, why don't we say retroactive to the end of her last term?
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah, the motion, would be retroactive to the date of her last term expiring and carrying forward for the year following that. And Travis, you second?
I'll second that.
Okay, and I just have to accept the nomination.
Well, yes, accept the nomination, then we can vote on it, right?
Yeah. So Maureen, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do. I accept the nomination to continue to be chair.
Okay.
Well,
Do we have
thank
an all in favor?
Aye.
Andrea? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposition? Come on, somebody, no. Yeah, well, thank you
All right,
for doing it. Thank you for doing it again, Maureen.
And thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Just to make it official, so.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is to approve the October commission meeting minutes. Is there any questions or concerns regarding the minutes? Okay, so all in favor of accepting the minutes as is? I make a motion to accept the minutes as is.
Andrea, was that a second?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Andrea, you seconded? Okay. So, okay. We accept the October minutes as is. Okay, moving right along. Let's see, new business. A volunteer background check policy. Is that, Lindsay, is that something that's already in effect, or is that something that needs to be established?
So I have been in communication with the mayor's office, as well as civil service and court counsel. Over the years, it's kind of been something on, I think, a few people's minds that our programs, we work with a lot of different volunteers, especially with our youth programs and coaches and referees and scorekeepers and whatnot. But the one thing that we don't really have in place, and I don't believe we've had in place ever, is some sort of formal background check for people that are volunteering or working with our youth. And so, I personally feel anyone who is, working with children should undergo a background check, to make sure they're not on the sex offender registry, and to make sure that there's no severe crimes that have been committed or pending crimes of any, large scale type of matter. And so I know that Ban the Box is, is something that's been enacted for employment. So we can't actually ask new hires if they've ever, committed or have been convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor. With volunteers, it's not necessarily clear that whether or not we have to follow those same guidelines, but I do feel that we should remain consistent with our employment policy. But what I did was took the language from the notification and acknowledgement form that staff usually fill out, which is basically just letting them know what the background check is, what it is that is being being looked for, and that should some sort of record show up, that doesn't necessarily mean they won't be allowed to volunteer. It's, it will be taken into consideration as far as what does pop up. More specifically, anything having to do with, being a sex offender. So Corp Counsel suggested that I present it to you guys. The form that I've come up with is currently in Corp Counsel's office. The mayor's okayed it, and the language that's in there. And so once Corp Counsel says that it's appropriate in terms of any legal, legal standing, I will send it to you guys. It is imperative that the moment you receive it, you try to look it over and just kind of give, an electronic, okay or no, or just, we have to try to address it quickly. As Biddy League is starting up, we're starting to get coaches that are signing up. And I want this to be the first program that we start this. So it is going to be time sensitive. So I want everyone to kind of be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Lindsay, that's, it's not a bad idea. I mean, in the boxing program, USA Boxing, every second year, they do a background check, and you're not excluded at all. I mean, if you had a bank robbery 20 years ago, and you're not excluded. If you've had, if you're on the registry for sex crimes, a sexual offender registry, you are excluded. Any, abuse of children, those kinds of things will get you excluded from USA Boxing. But they also look at, if something was 10 years ago and you've nothing since other than sex crime stuff, then they shine it on, because people are entitled to function in society. But they do it when you first register as a coach or a trainer or anything, and then they do it every other year automatically. You have to agree to it. And that's just to see if there's been anything recent, because if you have, if you're on the register, you have those charges, you're not allowed to work with the youth.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, really what each case, everything will be a case by case type of situation. I will be consulting with Corp Counsel for anything that pops up, and the mayor. We appreciate anyone who dedicates their time to volunteer and to give back to the community for sure. We just need to make sure that we're taking into consideration, the environment that we're setting for the youth and any other, programming that we have going on, our staff as well. So, we're not, it's not meant to,
Right.
necessarily harm anyone. We just want to make sure that we're providing a very safe space for the kids. And we do it for any of our summer camp programs. Our staff, our staff undergo background checks. It doesn't seem like it's ever been something done with volunteers. When my nephew played soccer when he was younger, and I was asked to coach, and we had to pay a refundable $10 to undergo a background check in order to do that. And so we won't be charging anyone. I mean, not to my knowledge. It will really just be a local background check, and we have the means to run names through the sex offender registry. And in order for anyone to volunteer or to work with our youth, they'll have to sign off that they're okay with it. If they don't sign off on it, unfortunately, they will not be able to participate.
So I think that Al makes, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Andrea,
Thank you. Thanks for explaining that, Lindsay. I was a little confused at first when you were saying that there's something about checking the box that you were saying about, they couldn't report something or whatever. So you're saying that it's not that they have to disclose that they've had some type of like background, but you're gonna do, they're consenting to the permission to, get the background check anyway.
Yes, so they don't,
Okay.
so yeah, so the original form, the form that used to be permitted by civil service, there was language in there where it asked, have you ever been convicted of a felony or misdemeanor? If yes, please explain. I removed that from the language that I'm proposing. And they don't use that form, my understanding from civil service, they don't use that form anymore because since ban the box, we can't ask that of our employees. I was told that that doesn't necessarily apply to volunteers. There's no policy for that, but I feel that it's important to be consistent with our employment policy. So if we don't ask our employees that question, I don't know why we would ask a volunteer. So they won't have to disclose anything on the form. It's just giving, their personal information so that the background check can be conducted. And in doing so, they're acknowledging that that's what's happening. They're okaying it, and they're receiving official notification. We wouldn't be able to conduct that search without their permission. And so if someone has, like, for example, already committed to coaching, which many people have, or even refereeing, we're having our refs, our scorekeepers, all of them are going to have to do this if they want to do it. But if anybody chooses not to, that's fine, and that's the end of that. But we won't be able to allow them to continue.
Okay.
is
yeah,
that
makes-
something that will, oh, go ahead, Andrea. Andrea, did you have a question? Okay. So, Al was mentioning that, that their check is with the Boxing Association, that check would be done, you said every other year or every 2 years?
It's done initially and then every other year. That's just, it's a nationwide thing. So that's how they track it.
So is,
Yeah, ours
is
would
that
be
something-
ours would have to be every year because we get different volunteers every year.
okay,
And like you said, something, God forbid, something happens in between, this year and next, we would need to be aware of that. So
Yes.
my feeling is that we would have to conduct it every year for every participant of our youth programs.
okay, good.
Yeah.
I think that's great to have that in place.
Yep. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. As soon as Corp Council says the language is okay, I'll be sharing that via email. And again, just kind of keep an eye out for that. And, I want to roll that out as soon as possible.
All right. Any other questions or concerns about any of that? I think that Lindsay explained it pretty clearly. Okay, moving right along. Gosh, we come to item number 3, action and discussion items, department and program updates, and that's you again, Lindsay.
I'm sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of the talking here. I will try to be brief. There are a couple
Oh,
of things.
no.
I just want to give you guys some
Fine.
updates. I don't know how many of you have been down to the point, but the parking lot is done. The lines are striped. The gate has been moved back to be able to allow people to use that parking lot at any time of the day. You'll also notice if you go down there that the other side of the street, on the BMX and softball field side, we have installed a new sign and landscape boulders due to the excessive flooding that happens in that parking lot. I don't know how many of you heard, but there was some flooding that took place on Columbus Day weekend. There was no rain, there was no storm. It had to do with the moon and the tides and things that I could not even imagine. It happened. And our trusty environmental specialist and sustainability coordinator have advised us that it will happen again this month. And so, you know, just another sign of climate change. Just want to make you guys aware of that. But we have had to put boulders up to stop people from going to a certain point, because there was damage done to some people's vehicles over that weekend. And so if anybody gets calls about that, or if you see it yourself, there is signage explaining why it's blocked off, but it is just to make
Okay.
sure everybody's staying clear of that area. And we don't necessarily know when it's gonna happen, so I just would hate for someone to take a chance and park down there.
That was there was something going on and people were parked there for the day or something, right? And
Yeah,
Some
Field and
event-
Supply was over at the Brickyards, and they, you know, people that were coming from all over used all the extra parking in the area. And, you know,
they floated some cars. Now, that area there, is that a wetlands area that can't be, so there's not much that's going to be done with that?
yeah, I mean, I know there's been a lot of back and forth about it, about what to do with it. I know there's been conversations about raising up the parking lot, which I believe is what was done across the street. You know, it's been lifted up to an extent to prevent any future flooding that will probably occur over there. You know, I'm not sure where this parking lot stands, though. It's, you know, it is an issue though, for sure.
I thought the mayor mentioned a while ago, you know, as part of some grant money that we received that, I mean, I had the impression it was going to be done, that, you know, just when, not if.
Right. Right, and that's, you know, typically the case. Sometimes the
Yeah.
when starts to feel like an if, but yes, I do believe, I mean, it has to be addressed, and I don't think there's as many options as we would like. Like you said, it's just a matter of when.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I look at it, it's, even if you raise the parking lot, that the water's gonna go somewhere. So, you know, it's just gonna, you know, back up into the wetland, or, you know,
Yeah,
water finds a way to go somewhere. You can't just stop it, you know,
Yep.
and it comes in through that little channel, so it's gonna back up through the channel. And, you know, as much as I want to see that parking lot fixed, you know, I'm afraid it might cause other problems.
right.
You know, and if we raise that up, water from that channel is going to back up and maybe flood out the, you know, the new soccer fields and, you know,
Or the roadway, or,
yeah, or something.
you
Yeah,
know,
so,
because
you know-
the water's coming.
Yeah,
The
we
water's
really,
coming.
yeah, we need some consultants that,
And if we block it there with a dam, like by raising it,
right, yeah, and that's,
it's gonna go to the, you know, the easiest spot, or water flows where it
Problem
wants.
is that the BMX folks are, you know, right now it's their off season, but when they start back up in March or April, currently there's no access to that end of the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, and it is a good thing as far as timing that the new parking lot across the street has opened up, but it's, you know, it's just further away from their location. So, you know, I think it's something that we'll have to revisit in the spring, but, you know, the kind of flooding that took place a couple weekends ago is, you know, that was more than, it came out further than I've ever seen it come out.
yeah,
it
and
pushed
this,
further.
it definitely seems to me that it's worsened over the years. I remember back in the day when I played softball down there, everybody used to hang out in that parking lot for hours after the game. And,
Yeah.
you know, there wasn't, you know, maybe a little bit, but not like now. I mean, now, you know, it's a couple feet deep. It's, you know, it's
Yeah.
really like, you know, a lake down there, you know, and I don't recall it being that bad. So I'm not sure what the cause.
No,
is.
I'm with you, Steve. I seem to remember 50, 70 feet of it coming, but not real deep either.
Right.
You know, just being there, and I said, "Oh, look at this," you know. But now it's
And it's there
significant.
all the time now. where
Yeah,
before
I
it
haven't
seemed to
seen
come
it
and
go
go.
away.
Yeah.
Right,
right.
it's not going away, like you
Never
said,
goes
it's not
away.
drying up as quickly. There's definitely more water than before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So I'll leave that to better minds than mine in terms of, you know,
Yeah,
planning.
I wish I had an answer, but I think you're gonna, you know, you're gonna solve one problem and create another.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to be careful, you know, when
Yeah.
we do get around to it.
Yeah, and I do think that's probably what the the delay has been over the years is, I know they've consulted with DEC, I know they've consulted with various engineers. I think that it's, like you said, what kind of problem do you want to have?
Right.
So anyways, just in case you get calls about that or questions about it, that is until further notice. So some good news though, we have hired a new rec leader. His name is,
Okay.
his name is Chris. He's great. He was working with DSS for a bit. He has experience working with at-risk youth. He's a baseball player. I think he went to school at St. Peter's, played D1 baseball. And he's an all-around good guy. He seems very involved. He's a go-getter. He asks a lot of questions. He seems really excited to be part of the team. He just started this past Monday. So he's going to be overseeing over 30 this year. He's also going to be working a little bit with the senior programming. And right now he's kind of underneath Andrew, just kind of learning about Biddy over 30 in the Rondout Center. So this week he's been spending a lot of time down there, which he seems to really enjoy. I think his passion seems to really be working with kids, which is great. So hopefully you guys can swing by and meet him. I think he's going to be a good addition to the team.
What's his name again, Lindsay?
Chris Connolly,
Okay.
from Saugerties. Yep. So yeah, anytime you guys are around, pop on in, say hi. Yeah.
Lindsay, it's Nancy Mills.
Hi,
I
Nancy.
just got on. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Nancy.
I was in traffic. I'm sorry,
No,
but
that's
I'm
okay.
here. Sorry.
Not good. All good.
Thanks.
All
for coming.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So, Deet Stadium, we had a kickoff meeting yesterday to discuss the parking lot portion of that project. There's been a lot of tentative dates thrown around as to when that project is going to start. I know that it seems between Dr. Catalino, the mayor, it does seem that they're aiming towards closing the stadium down for a full school year rather than doing a little bit at a time, trying to get it done here, opening back up, doing this part. I think they feel like, and I don't disagree with this. I think that will just prolong the project. It'll make it complicated in terms of scheduling and trying to make sure that the students and the visitors are getting in safely without any issues, problems, or concerns. And I know there's also a concern about the completed portions possibly being damaged or compromised while they're working on other aspects. So right now, it seems that they're aiming towards November 2022 as the start date. Again, that's all very rough and tentative. And I'm sure things could change at any moment, but right now that is seems to be the tentative start date.
What was that start date?
November of next year.
Okay.
And so they'll have the school will have another spring season there. And I believe they'll be able to get in their fall season as well. Yeah, it seems the athletic director was on the call, and it seems like their fall sports are usually completed before Thanksgiving, so, or roughly around that. Just a couple of updates on current programs. Flag football is going well. There have been some rain dates, so we're trying to catch up on that. We should be done with flag in a couple of weeks. Biddy registration closed on Friday. We have been allowing people to kind of trickle in. As we know, some people get around to it a little late, but registration is looking good. And we've started assigning players to teams. We've gotten a ton of sponsorship checks, which is great. Like I said, we're trying to get the coaches lined up, but it's coming together, and I think people are really excited about being able to play again this year. Town of Ulster is not able to have their program this year, so they have directed their, their network, their players and parents to sign up with our program. And so there's probably going to be a boost in numbers for that. And so a lot of those parents and players have kind of come together to sign up. They just want to get their kids to play. So we're good there.
We have enough space and,
Yes.
okay, good.
Yep, we still, the only division right now that is nearing the closeout is the 8 to 10 division, which is typically the case. I think I looked around 2 o'clock today and there were 77 players signed up. So we'll have 8 teams, which is, again, 8 to 10 is our largest division. So that's pretty typical. If by chance we get, 10 more players or 8 more players, then we might throw in a 9th team just because we don't want to, we don't want to turn anyone away, especially after not having a season. So that's looking great. 11 to 13, the only concern with that is modified tryouts, I think, are coming up in the next week or so. And that's typically when we get a lot of kids that want to register kind of after the fact. So we are preparing, we're kind of reserving a certain amount of numbers, for that, because every year it does seem we end up getting about 10, maybe 12 kids that sign up late. So we're going to order enough shirts and make sure that there's room for everyone. But we're kind of keeping that in the back of our minds.
Excuse me, Lindsay, is that basketball we're talking about, or is
Yes.
that still the flag football?
Nope, no, that's basketball, bitty basketball.
Okay, and so when does that close
I mean,
for the sign up?
the closeout registration date was last Friday, but we've kept it open this week. So tomorrow, Andrew's going to close it out at 5:30.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
I just want to write that down.
Yeah.
Okay, 5:30?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so, but like I said, if people, a lot of times people will reach out and say they, they forgot, it was on their radar, whatever. We, as long as we're not, the problem isn't finding, it's more about the coaching. If we can't, we can make a new team. We don't, that's not an issue. The issue is sometimes finding coaches. We don't want to have 12 kids to a team because kids aren't going to get as much playing time. And so we really try our best not to exceed 8 or 9 to a team. Anything beyond that, you can sometimes see, you kind of see that a lot of kids don't really get to play as much as they would if there were only 8 kids on the team. So we really do try to stick to those numbers so that everybody gets to play as much as possible.
And what are the COVID precautions that are happening? Like, are they wearing masks? Are people allowed to come and watch?
Yes. So, that's right, Andrea. I'm sorry, you weren't at the last meeting. So,
Oh,
for
sorry.
our adult indoor sports, it's been decided that every participant, coach, captains, referees, scorekeepers, everyone has to be vaccinated and has to show proof of vaccinations in order to participate. And in result, they won't have to wear masks. That, the mayor felt that there were some concerns about some of the older players, I guess, that, wearing masks while playing basketball. There just were, we had received a lot of concerns about that. And so in general, I think that we would just feel more comfortable, knowing that everyone who's in the gym space, especially because there's not great ventilation, that everybody be vaccinated. And so with our youth sports, obviously we can't really do that. And so anyone who enters the building for those programs will have to wear a mask. We're not requiring proof of vaccination for anyone for those programs.
And the kids have to wear it while they're playing?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I feel like, you're a teacher, the kids are more used to it than any of the adults. So, all of our programs, the Tay Fisher league that we just had at the Midtown Center, the kids all had masks on, the coaches, all the spectators, and for the most part, everybody was pretty good about it. So I have asked our staff to really be strict with that, though. We don't want our program to shut down because people are not following the guidelines. It just, we have too many people that are in and out of that building. And so we just really want people to respect this policy, so that we can continue to offer the program. The other one I have here, or volleyball. Volleyball is going well. Casey is running indoor volleyball this year. Things seem to be going well. We had to have the games last week at Chamber School. Thanks, the school district allowed us to use one of their gym spaces because of early voting. And so it seems like people are having a good time so far. Everyone has been given solid feedback. They're just happy to be back playing. So so far I've gotten good feedback about volleyball.
Oh, well, you know what? I used to play volleyball and I didn't even realize or think to ask that it was happening this year. So I have to catch it next year.
Oh, yeah. I do know, if you're still interested in playing, I know sometimes teams that we do offer a free agent list. And so
Okay.
sometimes you should call Casey tomorrow. They sometimes
Yeah, I'll
look for
do
people
that.
to fill in.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yep. And I wanted you guys to put on your radars, we are looking to have our holiday party this year. The tentative date, December 17th. And so Mr. Woods has graciously offered to donate 4 bikes again this year to raffle off for the kids. I know they get excited for it. They look forward to it every year. I'm hoping Santa's available. I haven't.
Where are we gonna find the Santa Claus?
There's only one Santa in my eyes, and
You know what I'm
if he's not
saying?
available, we got a problem.
He can't not be available, right?
Santa's always available.
Is that Al? Al? Excuse me,
Yeah.
Al?
Yeah,
You gotta remember,
Yeah.
Santa hears everything. Santa hears
I know, you know.
everything. Nice.
I hope he's kind to me.
Kind to everybody.
I know,
That's true.
I know he is.
So in addition to the bikes that Mr. Woods is going to be donating, Tom Polk has offered to donate some used bikes. So we may be able to
Oh.
offer some additional items to raffle off. I think he runs a program where he teaches kids how to repair bikes and to kind of piece them back together with parts. And so he has offered to donate those as well, which I think is great. The more that we can give away, the better. And so in terms though of the donation by Mr. Woods, same with the money that was donated for the Ken Bryant plaque, we have to go to council to request that the donation be accepted, and that we get approval for the budget transfer to be able to then spend that. So Steve, just so you know, I submitted that yesterday, and so that'll be on the next finance committee agenda. And I've been speaking with our comptroller, John Toohey, just trying to understand this process better. I know in past years, I don't think that was necessarily followed that same way. And so we're trying to tighten it up and make sure that we're doing it the appropriate way. So the council has that, the ability and the opportunity to actually have say in what kind of funds we're accepting. So you'll be seeing that next week.
Lindsay?
Yeah.
Also, we're gonna be donating some toys and or like some more bikes as well.
Oh, nice.
They're gonna be present. They're just gonna be there. I spoke to Santa the other day. He told me to tell you guys that.
All right. Santa's coming early. I like it. All right.
So will there be food and everything too?
Yes, so I reached out, I've been making several attempts to reach out to KFC because I know in 2019, they changed their policy about how much time or how much notice had to be given in order to receive the food. And I recall that, so we've been trying to contact them for the last couple of weeks. There is a new manager, of course, and so he has not been the one I think Kevin's worked with in the past. So he had me submit, the date, how much food is needed. And so he has to check with his boss and, all that stuff. But he is going to be getting back to me tomorrow or Monday, he said. But if for some reason he did seem surprised with the amount of food. You know, so, and again, he's new, so maybe it's just something he's not aware of, but if in the event they're unable to accommodate us, Family Woodstock, Tina Barrett has offered to cook, and I believe they did that in 2019. I think they made chili and cornbread, you know, and I think the kids enjoyed it. But we'll see what KFC says first, but we do have a backup plan if by chance it doesn't work out. The Bruderhof, I think, typically donates cookies. Andrew's reaching out to them to just make sure that they have that on their radar and just make sure everybody has the date. Okay,
Wow,
and
it sounds
the
like
seniors are making,
that's ready.
no, sorry, the hats and the scarves. We're confirming with them to see if they've been working on that. They had some leftover from the previous year, so it's hopefully they're able to you know, get some done, because they kind of came to the building late this year, and this is something they usually start working on, I believe, as soon as the new year starts. So we'll see.
And do they have to sign up ahead of time, or are they able to just come into the event?
I believe, well, normally they're brought over by the Rondout Center staff and Family Woodstock at the Hodge. And so I think they try to get a rough estimate of who's going to be attending that day. But because it's a drop-in program, we can't, you know, we can never really be 100% sure of who's going to be there and who's not. But we do try to ask, you know, kids in advance or parents, are they going to be here on this date? And we usually have a rough number.
It's a nice, fun event with tons of kids and,
Yeah.
you know, running around
Yeah.
happy and lined up to see Santa Claus and leaving with
Oh, yeah,
presents
I mean-
and all good stuff.
Yeah.
I've
No.
been to a thousand of
Yeah.
these events. So are they for the older kids? Because I know that Santa's going to be bringing toys for the younger ones, but do we have something for the older kids?
So
Like-
last year, Santa brought gift cards to Dallas Hot Wieners, which I thought was very, very nice. I don't know if that is on the docket for this year or not, but I do think that was. I think
Santa's
that was.
gonna have. I spoke to Santa. He's gonna have all the older kids covered in this year, so they all covered. Everybody
Okay,
covered.
great, thank you.
Like that. Very good.
I think there was a bouncy house last year too. Was
Yes.
that, so that was a big hit.
That
Is
was
that something that'll happen?
Yep, we're looking at a bouncy house. We're looking at DJ Dre Black. I think Andrea might know him. I don't know though. He's like world famous these days, so I don't know, but
Right.
ask. So since you do have a little bit of pull there, Andrea, if you could maybe just see if he's available for us, but I think Andrew might have touched base with him.
Yeah, I'll see what I could do. You might have a better chance getting him to answer the phone for you.
All right, but that is, I know the kids love the music and I feel like they always teach us different dances and stuff. So it's, yeah, it's, I do believe we'll be having that as well. So
And you said December
and so-
18th?
17.
17.
Right.
What time?
So I believe they start coming over around, I could be wrong, because the 2019 was my first year doing it. I believe kids started showing up around 4:30. And it runs roughly around 7:30, but I will confirm those times.
And
Okay.
we're part of the food service, is that correct?
Yes, yes. So please mark your calendars. You guys are our sous chefs, kind of, or just distribution. But yes, so if you guys are available, that would be lovely for you to participate in serving the kids. I think it's another great opportunity for you to get to know them and just meet them and them meet you. And you know, it's always a great time.
And you said
Okay.
4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock?
Well, the kids go to the center, they go, and then they're brought over, and I believe they start showing up around 4:30.
Okay.
It may be closer to 4:30 if I'm remembering correctly, because I think the food showed up at 4. And I think they were getting everything set up. So I will confirm the time and make sure that you guys have that, so that way it's accurate and correct. Yeah, just want to make sure we all have that. Another item I just wanted to put out there, it's probably going to end up being in December. But this year is the 50th anniversary of the Rondout Neighborhood Center. I think we talked about that. We are trying to put together a ceremony. COVID kind of had us delayed in that. But I know Andrew has been putting together a video. We've reached out to some folks that have played a part in the Rondout Center, and especially in the early days. So the one thing we do not know, and maybe Mr. Woods can tell us, but nobody has been able to provide us with the actual month and day that the Rondout Center officially opened.
Are you talking
Oh.
about the current building or
Yes.
the actual? Okay, I was gonna say, because it was open prior to that, a few
Yeah,
doors down.
yeah, when it reopened in 1971.
Yeah,
We've looked in books, we could not find an actual date. And so maybe there, I don't know if there was an official date or it was just little by little things were happening.
I'll ask my parents. They were there.
Right, and that's, so I thought I think I asked your dad one day, but
He
he
probably
wasn't sure.
Oh yeah, I'll see. I'll find out.
Yeah, I asked my Aunt Renee, she wasn't entirely sure, and it always makes me nervous when she doesn't know, because I feel like she got facts all the time, so I'm hoping someone else can help us there, but the mayor will present a proclamation. We were hoping to have some speakers, and again, anyone who can't make it, we're gonna try to set up some videos. So I will keep you guys posted on that. Yeah, that's the only thing other than that is we are planning to open the Rondout Center in the evening on select days once flag football ends. And so that will probably start up in December, so that we can reopen for some of the older kids in the evenings.
Okay.
So I had one thing for, that I don't want to forget, on the Boxing Hall of Fame, not the boxing club, but the Hall of Fame thing that we're doing. I'm finally able to meet with the people who have the plaques, so we can figure out what to put on them. We were in mid-stride when COVID shut them down, and some of them didn't want to, I don't know. I don't know how they didn't go out of business, but bless them that they're still there. And so I'm hoping to meet with them in the next few weeks to do that. The question that came up is that wall that they're supposed to go on, if that's been painted or is it
So
to be painted?
it has not, but that area is going to be under construction fairly soon for the kitchen renovation.
Okay.
So my only hesitation is putting it up for them to come right back down, or
Right.
painting for it to be redone.
Yeah.
That was supposed to begin at the end of October, but I don't believe the contracts have been hashed out yet.
No.
So I'm hoping to get some updates on that. I wish I had more information, but at this point.
Is that projected to be like a month-long project or a year-long?
I'm sorry, the asbestos removal, that part is supposed to be, I think, it can be up to 3 months. That is part one. The actual construction for the kitchen, if all went well and we started this at the end of October, I believe it was expected for the whole thing to be done by May. Since we have not started yet, I don't.
Talking about June, July, yeah.
At this point, yeah, if the end of November is the new start date, then yes, I believe it would be pushed back a month.
Well, so then looking at it optimistically, we have time to really design these plaques.
Yes,
So
yes, absolutely. We do.
somebody with, with taste. I'm not often accused of having great taste when it comes to like picking colors or designing something. I just slap something. I think it looks good, but um,
Well,
so.
you have time to brush up on your interior design.
Well, there's no help for that. There's no hope and no help. So
Yeah.
I'll have to recruit someone to assist.
Mm.
You know.
Yep. But yeah, that's not forgotten. It's just.
Yeah, no, I just didn't want to move that piece forward without the other piece being done.
Yeah. Yep.
So cool. So it's all exciting. It's all moving towards it. So
Yes.
good thing.
Yep. So I will give you guys an update on that once the contract is finalized by Corp Counsel and Novo's attorneys, then we should have a start date.
Is that who's
Right.
funding it?
Yes, and it's a complete gift to the city. The hope that the mayor has for this is that it's a community kitchen. And what that looks like, what that means is still being discussed. Who has access, what is the scheduling, who manages the schedule, all of those types of things are part of the community engagement aspect. So Emily Flynn, our health and wellness director, and me and the mayor, the three of us have kind of, been discussing that and what it could look like. As far as Parks and Rec goes, I personally see that as another opportunity to host a variety of programs, cooking classes, seminars, demos, all kinds of things. So, it is going to be a great addition, not just to the building and for the community, but just as a whole. I think it's going to be wonderful to see the building getting renovated piece by piece.
Separate stuff. Do you know if there's plans for us next year, I would assume, to collaborate with like Community Action again for the senior dinner?
Yeah, their director left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. The seniors have just now started coming back into our building. I think early August or September, they've started feeling comfortable to be back. I know the fire department reached out about wanting to do the breakfast. I've been in touch with the mayor about that, just trying to see what we can do, but also I don't know if they use the kitchen at all, or my understanding is they bring in their own equipment. I don't know if anybody knows that for sure, but part of that needs to be, I just want to make sure that that's the case, because that kitchen, it cannot be used. It's not safe, it's not healthy, and it doesn't even have an active permit, apparently for the last 4 years. So no one can use
Oh,
that.
wow.
We I was with Community Action and the Rec Commission, and we often have another place make the chicken or make the dinners. And we have a restaurant that's been very helpful out of Saugerties, actually, Marabella's. And others, Savona's have always been helpful. So, between them, they would come up with the food. We used to at times reheat it, but that's probably not something we could do.
Right.
So we could have we also had those, I don't know what they're called. You put the pans of food and there's a big candle underneath them or something.
Chafing.
Yeah. And then, we again served, well, the difference there is that we plated food, and others of us, and Community Action brought it to the tables for the seniors and served them at their table.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I don't believe there's an issue with that.
yeah, and then the politicians all came, it would probably have to be put off till next year. And I think it was in October that it was usually done. It was usually just before the elections, and politicians, we had a lot of politicians coming, people who are senators now, and, because it was just before election day and they wanted that senior vote, to be honest, and they got to meet people. So.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
All right. Well, I will definitely keep you guys apprised of any new information with the building.
And at Community Action, Larry Kithcart. I don't know if you guys know Larry, but
Yeah.
He's
Larry
still
was
the
the former,
executive director?
he used to be, and
He
he's
used to-
back now as an interim. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just as an interim while they're looking for somebody. So he and Susie Hinchy are coordinating things down there if anybody needs to contact them.
Okay. So if there aren't any other questions or concerns about that, that's a lot of information. Thank you, Lindsay, for keeping us updated on that. You're a busy person. Old business. We're still trying to finalize the Ken Bryant Memorial, so
This one's different though. This is the one that
This is the
going
plaque.
at yeah, so I'm sorry, I know it's me talking again, but the Rock Park one, at this point, I really don't see that happening this year.
right.
Mr. Bryant has been very busy, as you all know. He's been under, involved in a campaign. I do think now that things are calming down a little bit, I'm hoping that we can get, even if it's a tentative date, March, whatever, let's put it on the calendar. That's more than enough time for us to plan. The sign is made, it's at our sign shop. The resolution was passed. Everything is in place. We just need the ribbon cutting.
Right.
The plaque that's going at the Midtown Center,
Yes.
we have the language. I've reached out to the family and have asked, how involved they want to be in the design. It's been suggested that I pick out a couple samples with timely signs and send them some examples and see what their thoughts are, and then I will share them with you guys and get your input. So I did reach out to Timely Signs. They're going to be sending me some samples shortly that I can share with you all and the family. That's also one of the, like I said earlier, that is going to be presented at the finance committee next week, I think, because we just have to formally accept the donation from Mr. Woods, which is going to pay for the plaque.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that will be another ribbon cutting. Once we get that in place, we are going to get the plaque in advance and hold on to it before putting it on the wall. Right. As I said, we don't want to put anything up that will have to come right down. So for now, we're just going to try to work on getting it completed and having it in hand. Installing it will be the easy part.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. So that was the last item. Is there any other old business that anybody wants to discuss or mention? If not, then we can end this meeting. And the December meeting is scheduled for December 2nd, Thursday, December 2nd, and that will also be a virtual meeting. If nobody has anything else to say, then we can officially adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
Hey, Lindsay? Lindsay,
Yes, sorry, I was muted. Yes,
it's Nancy. Can you just call me after the meeting
sure.
at home? Okay. Do you have my home phone?
I do not. What is that? Is that right on the screen?
All right. Excuse me?
Is this?
Yeah,
the
that's my
number?
cell phone. Yeah, you can call me on that. That's great.
Okay,
All right. Okay. I'll second the meeting if no one did. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Thank
Is
you,
everybody
everyone,
there?
for coming. Yeah. Thank you for coming to the meeting. Enjoy November and stay safe. We'll see you in
Thank
December.
you, Maureen.
bye
Okay.
guys.
Maureen.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.